like to request His Grace Krishna Chandra Prabhu to please come forward, and meanwhile, Raghunath Prabhu, please give it.
Hare Krishna. So, the Prabhupada's greatness has so many angles. We can keep talking about it from morning to night. There's so many amazing qualities. I just wanted to bring forward one aspect, particularly that so many times it was miraculous how he reconciled uh, completely opposite characteristics or attributes. For instance, the Prabhupada was a visionary. So he was dreaming or he was planning for 30 years after his Guru Maharaj gave the instructions in 1935, the second time. And then in 1965, he actually started implementing it. He was planning all the time. Also, when he was in the US, after reaching on September 17, 1965, it was 9 months till he found the matchless gift. In the following June, in those 9 months also, he was penniless practically. But even then, he had just this one person called Nelson who was kind of, he wasn't completely fully with his faculties, so to say. But yet, he was a very sincere follower of Prabhupada at that time. And Prabhupada would talk to him about purchasing the 3-story building in New York, which would have cost him millions. He was writing to the Prime Minister from there, asking for help. He was writing to Mrs. Singhania, to his godbrothers, but not losing heart when he got no response. So he was a visionary at one hand, he was also dreaming, but at the same time he was extremely practical. He would get on with it, and he would, because he saw everything coming from Krishna. He would be doing minor detailing and would concentrate on the down-to-earth day-to-day affairs also. Another example is when he was meeting dignitaries. He met Mayor of Geneva, he met 2 Prime Ministers of India. He had written to Gandhiji a few months before his death. So he met the top businessmen, celebrities, and he was always very charming and sensitive. So a person at that level who was meeting them at the highest level, one would assume that sometimes they may not have time enough or the detailed attention for the individuals, not just disciples but even newcomers. And there is a very sweet story by His Grace Atma-tattva Prabhu who mentions that once an old man, he came to the Delhi temple and in those days, when you came there, if you wanted to meet Prabhupada, at least you should do some service in the temple. But this old man had huge swelling and a lot of fluid in his leg. It was obvious he couldn't do any service. He was sitting there beside. And then it was afternoon time, and somehow Prabhupada would meet people at 3 o'clock. His door was open at that time for anyone to come in. And so it was just his good luck that nobody was there at 3 o'clock. So Atma-tattva Prabhu took this person to meet Prabhupada. And he came in and so this man was shaking like a leaf because he was so overwhelmed with meeting Prabhupada. He didn't even expect anything at the time. Very simple person, ordinary man. So Prabhupada talked with him so sweetly. Said yes. And this person could not speak. He was stuttering. He was holding his feedback in his hand and saying, "You just say Prabhupada, Prabhupada." And so that was all he could say. So then Prabhupada took his beads from his hand and said, "You know how to chant?" So it was like completely lost his sense. He couldn't say anything. So Prabhupada took his beads out and he said, "This is how you should chant." And he actually finished the entire round for him. He spent 10 minutes and gave him back. So, in a sense, he was actually initiated because Prabhupada chanted on his beads. And a couple of months later, when Atma-tattva went to meet him, and he had left his body, and his family said that they could not even get his hand because he was chanting the last 2 weeks. He was only chanting 24 hours practically, and they could not even get his fingers out from the beads because they had become the rigor mortis. It was become so so tight. So he had all the time for everyone. We have many stories. I think all his disciples have many stories, whoever met him physically, of how Prabhupada would personally talk to them. Once he was in a Guru Puja, it was going on in a very big way. People were jumping, devotees were jumping in front of him, and yet, he was, one person had some wound on his hand, small wound. So he called him over. Everything is, they're singing loudly the Guru Puja. They're all circling him, and he's calling him and giving him the remedy of what he should do, how he should apply turmeric and so on. Also, another seeming contradiction, he had never traveled in a plane till he was 70 years old. And yet, after that, he circled 13 times the world in 12 years. And he never had jet lag even for a minute. Every devotee who met him, and his disciple will vouch for it, that he would just walk off the plane and start. His disciples were completely knocked out. And it is an impossibility, actually, practically. There's hardly anyone who would be, how he could manage that, but he somehow had never felt any jet lag. Similarly, most of his adult life, after 35, 40, he was in poverty because he had embraced that life of simplicity. And yet, he had no difficulty when Krishna provided him in purchasing and negotiating for $1 million properties, the Lawrence Fisher Mansion or the Bhaktivedanta Manor. To talk of, somebody talks of 3 million and he will say, give it to me for free. That's how you start his negotiation. And then he would settle at $300,000. So it was as if he was just an emissary of Krishna who would come fully armed and fully prepared. He always taught his disciples to be very ambitious. Shoot the rhino, he would say. So what is the harm? Because if you shoot the rhino and nothing happens, nobody will say that you missed out because you're not expected to. Like he used to talk of buying very big buildings. They did buy a skyscraper in New York. And once when they were in England, when they were walking past the Buckingham Palace, where the Queen and all stay there, so one of the disciples came running and said excitedly, that Prabhupada, one of the guards is started chanting already. So Prabhupada just looked at him and said, oh, so what about the Queen? So he had expectation that even the Queen should be chanting. So at the same time, he was very satisfied with the smallest service. If you devotees have given so many of their examples, 40 years after he passed away, that when somebody offered him a flower, or some Mataji would clean the room, and how he would interact with them, how he would talk to them, he was so grateful. So he could, person who's generally, talking of the biggest things, usually misses out on the small aspects. And Prabhupada was extremely personal with everyone who met him, especially his disciples. So there were thousands of these small life-changing incidents for the disciples. Yet, also at the same time, Prabhupada instantly understood where the person would come from. Once His Holiness Hridayanand Maharaj was a brahmachari. He mentions that, when he was the senior disciple in, this was in South America. So when Prabhupada came there, they took him in the car, and there was a new person, so who Prabhupada was encouraging. So Hridayanand Maharaj was sitting in the front, and this person was sitting with Prabhupada at the back. And this new person, he was actually from Indian origin. So he was talking about some Bhagavad Gita shloks, and even though they were not completely correct, but Prabhupada encouraged him and said, oh, you know this, you know that, very nice. So Hridayanand Maharaj was feeling that, he wanted to impress Prabhupada. So when there was a pause, he turned back and then, he started quoting a couple of shloks, and trying to relate it to something he was talking to Prabhupada. And Prabhupada just looked at him and said, there are so many verses. So, he immediately understood that let's not, don't try to fool your spiritual master. So Prabhupada knew exactly where you came from. There was another incident involving Hridayanand Maharaj when he had brought one very famous celebrity. She was a Miss Mexico. So Prabhupada would meet new people all the time. They would just come and interact. And she was, of course, as they're trained to do. So she spoke nicely. She was sitting there in front of Prabhupada, and and she was like fluttering her eyelids and then saying, Swamiji, I'm so glad to meet you. I'd like to meet you again. So Prabhupada just narrowed his eyes and said, why? Why would you want to meet me? Have you read my books?
She has never been asked like this. She was completely shocked. So Prabhupada was not rude, but he could see that this was all empty talk, it's just how you want to say. She never had any desire to meet. So mostly Prabhupada was so personal, but at the same time he could see that if there's any hollowness or emptiness, he would put it, to put the person in its place. And of course, he received the highest praise and recognition which was due to him from so many scholars, politicians, rich businessmen. Yet, he also received so much abuse, so much insults, especially in the beginning. There are so many examples of that. Before he even established the matchless gift, this new potential devotee, David, he almost tried to kill him because he was in a drug-induced, spell. And Prabhupada had to run down 4 stories, left everything. Practically, he was practically killed. Then he went to this Carl Jurgens, one new person who was helping him. He was a black-bodied devotee, was very helpful to him. But his wife, she was extremely antagonistic to Prabhupada. So she was quite humiliating. When Prabhupada would ask for something, she would say, "Go and get it yourself." So he never took those insults at all in him. Once he was giving a lecture, and this was a few years after it established. So he typically gave many of the lectures in the universities, and in the universities, especially in Europe and USA, they used to be extremely antagonistic. Many of them, not always, but many times. They would ask very challenging questions because they felt that they knew that certain arrogance of the intellect. So when Prabhupada was talking about the classes of men, there's a first class man, second class, third class. As soon as he finished, then he said, "Any questions?" Suddenly hand shot up, and somebody is asking that, "So which class are you?" And the devotees on the stage were completely shocked. I mean, they were very upset, but they said, "Now what is Prabhupada going to say?" Then Prabhupada paused and he said in a very low voice, "I am 5th class." And then the tear rolled down Prabhupada's eye, and then he just said, "Let's have kirtan." So Prabhupada was, he just transcended all these so-called emotions that affect us or any person generally, and because he was entirely, completely absorbed in seeing that he, from the beginning to end of his life in this world, he was always a Krishna's emissary. Whatever was suiting Krishna, whatever he had to do to him, he was faithful to that. And whatever his Guru Maharaj had instructed him. So everything else was secondary, never affected him, never bothered, and he always saw the positive side of everything. So on this extraordinarily special day for all of us, I, in my own personal way, just pray that, somehow we can, with this wonderful association and wonderful dham that we are in, that we can get some inclination to increase our spiritual life and serve Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mr. Chandra Prabhu. And I would now like to request His Grace Raghunath Prabhu to come forward. Meanwhile, Radheshyam Prabhu, please be ready. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 6th canto, 2nd chapter, in one of the verses, I will read the translation and a bit of the purport that Srila Prabhupada writes. People in general are not very advanced in knowledge by which to discriminate between religion and irreligion. The innocent, unenlightened citizen is like an ignorant animal sleeping with its head on the lap of his master, faithfully believing in the master's protection. Now, Srila Prabhupada writes in his purport, the Sanskrit word Vishwasghat refers to one who breaks faith or causes a breach of trust. The mass of people should always feel the security because of the government's protection. However, it is regrettable that the government itself is now causing a breach of trust and putting citizens in difficult situations. See, after thousands of years of monarchy, In the modern contemporary times, in the last 100, 200 years, monarchy was abolished. And then came a time of fascism and dictatorship and communism. But then, after the Second World War, even dictatorship and fascism was abolished. And now there was a fight between capitalism and communism. There was a Cold War between Soviet Russia and the United States for not only on this earth but also space supremacy. And America tried to dominate the world by invading Vietnam. Now, that was the time when consumerism, upabhog karna, consumerism came to the forefront. Millions of American families were moving into new homes, owning new cars, owning new gadgets. And then, when America invaded Vietnam, the youth were completely disillusioned by what was going on at that time. You know, for the first time, even during wars, ravages, economic hardships, you know, the family always remained united. But now, the family was getting splintered. It was a perfect time when Srila Prabhupada went to the United States of America. In his own words, he said, I was feeling anxiety. You cannot get Krishna bhakti till you don't have sadachar, good habits. He said, I was in great anxiety. If I want to preach the message of Lord Chaitanya, then these American boys and girls must have sadachar. They must be used to good habits. But when I go there and tell them to have good habits, they will say, Swamiji, please go from here. We don't want this, because it was a world accustomed to addictions and substance abuse and illicit relationships. You know, it's so surprising. We go to Vrindavan to fulfill our bhakti dream. Prabhupada left Vrindavan in order to fulfill his lifetime's dream of, obeying the orders of his spiritual master. Now, today again, our world has come to such crossroads. After the late 1980s, communism was completely defeated. Union of Soviet Socialist Republic splintered into some 18 or 19 different countries. Now, capitalism dominated the world. And then we saw in 2008, there was the collapse of the Lehman Brothers. The whole world went into an economic crisis. And pretty much you can say that today, even people have no faith in communism, in capitalism. So we are on a dark, uncharted territory where nobody knows what to do, how to run this world. Let's take the example of our corporations. Earlier times, what was there? Either kings used to be philosophers or philosophers used to be kings. Look at our own, history. Kings were such great philosophers. That has been our tradition, our Sanatan tradition. But today, the kings are the CEOs of these corporations. Big, big corporations like Apple, Google, Microsoft, etc. Now, these kings have more wealth under their control than maybe hundreds of kings of the previous times. And they do not know what to do with all that Lakshmi that is there. Even philosophy is dead in our universities. Nobody is talking about philosophies. So even the corporate world, as we say in Hindi, disha bhrasht, they do not know what to do with this world. They have CEOs and CHOs. Do you know what that means? Chief empathetic officers and chief happiness officers. But that is also old wine in new bottle. It's running pretty much on the basis of greed and intoxication. So I think the perfect tribute to Srila Prabhupada in today's world, we cannot give a better offering to Srila Prabhupada than preach this message of Srila Prabhupada, to preach the message of Lord Chaitanya to these corporate people. That's how it is, because they have no clue of what is going on. Now, as you know, we in this contemporary world, we are emotional giants, I would say rather, we are economic giants, but emotional dwarfs. Some devotees said that. Okay? So really, we human beings are actually built for connectedness. Our hearts yearn for relationships. But no one has a clue of how to, preach this message of love of Godhead to this world. Look at what's happening now in the past few months. We are again at the brink of another war. So the world is clearly in a turmoil. And that is why we all need to become very serious in taking this message of Srila Prabhupada to the world. No matter how small we may be and no matter how small our circle of influence may be. Amara Agya Hai Guru Tara Hi Desh. That's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's prophecy was, right? So I think Prabhupada was the only reason why this modern world even knows the word Hare Krishna. I would say the mainstream culture, nobody knew this word till Prabhupada came. And during his lifetime, he produced so much literature, he wrote so many letters, he printed so many books that it is impossible for anyone to accomplish that unless you are actually blessed, you are empowered by Krishna Shakti. Srila Prabhupada never settled down in one place, nor do his disciples settle down in one place. He was constantly working day and night, spreading the message. And he also moved his disciples from one part of the world to another. And oftentimes, even after he left, some of his disciples wanted to succeed him. And on the way, they made so many mistakes. If you see, actually, Srila Prabhupada did not speak anything different from what Lord Krishna spoke. It's just that he brought Krishna consciousness to this contemporary world in its most pristine, accurate, and perfect form. I will end my offering by narrating one incident that is there, which B.B. Govind Maharaj narrated. He said, I was with Akinchan Krishnadas Babaji. And I had a tape recorder, so he said, is that a tape recorder? He put it on and then started doing kirtan for about 20 minutes. And then suddenly he stopped. And then he said, can I tell you one thing? I am an old man, but I have seen the world. Let me tell you, there has never been a greater acharya in the history than your spiritual master. He said, no previous acharya has performed the miracles that your spiritual master did. And he said, do you know why? B.B. Govind Maharaj was stunned. He didn't know what to say. He said, that's because your spirit, and this is coming from the mouth of a disciple of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who is a contemporary of Srila Prabhupada in that sense. He said that is because no one has more faith in the absolute, supremacy of the holy name than your spiritual master. And because of that, no one in this world has taken this holy name throughout the length and breadth of this world. So that is a tribute I thought was wonderful to hear about Srila Prabhupada. So thank you very much for listening patiently to me. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Raghunath Prabhu. And before Radheshyam Prabhu comes and makes his offering, I would like to request Vrindavan Prabhu, please be ready.
Hare Krishna. Today is a very auspicious day of disappearance of Srila Prabhupada, when we all are gratefully remembering Srila Prabhupada's great contributions in our personal lives. When Lord Krishna was about to leave for his spiritual abode back, he was sitting with Uddhava. So very intimately Lord Krishna was sharing things with him. And Uddhava also came to know that Krishna is going to leave this world and go to his abode. He immediately requested that you take me with you. I cannot live one moment in this world without your presence. So at that time Krishna said, you see, I want somebody, after I go back to my abode, to remain in this world. I want somebody who will exactly represent me, who can actually gift me to the people. And that is you, Uddhava. You are the best. There is one famous verse which says, Krishnenam pravaro mantri. Like that it says, he is the best of the mantris of Krishna. Who? Uddhava. It says, Krishnasya daita sakha, it is said. He is the dearest friend of Krishna. And then it says, Uddhavo buddhi sattamaha, it says. He was the most intelligent, best of the mantris, dearest friend of Krishna. And Shishyo Brihaspate Sakshat, Uddhavo buddhi sattamaha, it is said. He is disciple of Brihaspati. So, Uddhava was a lover of Krishna, pure devotee. So Krishna told Uddhava that there is one very important homework I could not do, which I would want you to do, he said. He said, in Badrikashram, there are some sages who asked me to visit them, but I was so busy with so many things, I couldn't visit them. But I want you to visit them and transmit a very important knowledge to them. And what is it? That knowledge you will learn when you go to Vrindavan from the gopis of Vrindavan. Because those sages know everything except Raja Bhakti, Raga Bhakti. And that is something which nobody can teach except myself. And in my absence, only someone like you can teach it. And that too you have to learn from the gopis of Vrindavan. So go to Vrindavan and then come back taking the dust of the Vijayapasis, then go to Badrikashram and deliver this important knowledge. So Uddhava cried and then asked many questions to Krishna. And therefore, the entire Uddhava Gita was spoken in the 11th canto, which is much, much more elaborate than Bhagavad Gita spoken to Arjuna. So one of my very favorite verses in the Uddhava speech, which comes towards the last part of the 29th chapter, Uddhava is concluding everything, expressing his gratitude to Krishna for the Uddhava Gita that Krishna gave him. He is telling, my dear Lord Krishna, you know, great personalities like Shiva and Brahma and Indra put their mukut at your lotus feet. You know, you are surrounded by such great personalities. But you are so kind-hearted as Lord Ramachandra, you make friendship even with the Vanaras. You know, although you are such a great person, you come down due to your Saushilita, due to your nature to make friendship with such personalities. So seeing this, who in this world will give up surrendering to you and turning away from your lotus feet simply for sense gratification, which makes us forget you, he said. Because sense gratification makes us forget Krishna. As it is said in the 5th canto also, the demigods are saying that, they are saying that smriti pramushta atishaya indriya utsavat. By atishaya indriya utsava, the smriti becomes pramushta. The intelligence is, good intelligence is lost by chasing after the mirage of sense gratification. Then Krishna asked Uddhava, do you mean to say you are afraid of Maya, therefore you want to come with me? Uddhava said, no. He said, Tava Mayam Jayemahi, he says. We can very easily conquer your Maya. How? Uchishta Bojino, he is saying that by taking your Uchishta, remnants of your prasad, wearing the garland that is offered to you, accepting the scent that is offered to you, accepting this prasad from you, Krishna, we can very easily conquer Maya. That's not a problem at all. But I am only feeling separation from you. Conquering Maya for devotee is very easy, Uddhava says, provided devotees get that Mahat Kripa coming in the Guru Parampara. Therefore, Uddhava said this famous verse, 11.29.6, Naivopayanti apachityam kavayastavesha brahmayushapi kritam riddhamudam smarantaha yontar bahirtanuvritam ashubham vidhunvan acharya chaitya vapusha swagatim janakti. He is telling, even if someone gives me a lifespan of Brahma, which is 3.11 trillion, 40 billion years, in this entire span of life you glorify Acharya, still it is not enough, he is saying. You may imagine such a long span, daily, moment after moment, to glorify Acharya for Brahma's lifespan, still we will feel short. We are only celebrating one day, disappearance day of Prabhupada. But he is saying Acharya deserves so much appreciation. And then he is saying our gratitude, apachita means gratitude. Many learned scholars have expressed their gratitude to you, my Lord, but they have failed to do it completely, he is saying. Why? Because you, antar bahir tanubratam ashubham vidunva. You come in our lives in two ways. One is inside, another one is outside. Director within, preceptor without, we say. So Lord is Paramatma in the heart, who cleanses our impurities also. He says that, Tesham evanakam partam ahamajnanajam tamaha nashayam yatma bhavasto jnana deepena bhaswata. I lit up the torchlight of knowledge in the heart of my devotee by destroying the darkness, he says. So Super Soul also does that work. But externally, who does it? Acharya chaitya vapusha swagatim janakti. Acharya does it by giving the books, by giving his teachings, by giving the prescribed devotional methods, by adopting which we can purify our heart. So the Acharya is as important as our own Super Soul, who is always accompanying us. And the sound vibration produced from the Acharya's mouth is an amplification of the Super Soul's speech. All of us in our hearts and minds, we are hearing some sounds, but we are not sure whether it is arising from our senses, from our mind, from our intelligence, or false ego, we don't know. Therefore, when we hear the Acharya speaking, he is one who is free from four defects, who hears the Super Soul and repeats that message to us by amplifying it, just like the amplifier is, magnifying my sound now. This is the gift that Acharya does it. Otherwise, in the world where we are living, samsara sagara, and the babble of waves of so many sense gratificatory advertisements that are thrown on us, where we are bewildered, confused, and drowned in the ocean of Maya. How wonderful the Acharya is. He gives us eyes to see. Just like Devahuti very gratefully told, she said that you are actually Divya Chakshu, or the transcendental eye. Sat Chakshur Janmanamante Labdham Me Tvad Anugrahat. By your mercy I got Sat Chakshu, the transcendental eye, to see the world in right perspective, which is Shastra Chakshu. So therefore he is saying that the Lord Swagatim, how to attain the Lord's lotus feet, Lord shows Vyanakti. How? By Acharya Chaitya Vapusha, in two ways. One by the Super Soul in the heart, and another one by the Acharya. And also, Kaviraj Goswami, while talking about the Abhideya Bhakti in the 22nd chapter of the Madhya Leela, when Lord Chaitanya was speaking to Sanatana Goswami, one very important thing is mentioned about this. Mahat kripa vina kona karma bhakti naya Krishna bhakti dure rahu samsare nahi kshaya. He's saying, forget about even Krishna bhakti, even you cannot get liberated from samsara without Mahat kripa. He's telling. Mahat kripa vina kona karma bhakti naya. See, without Mahat kripa, no matter how many different types of activities we do to get bhakti, we cannot get. And then Mahat kripa actually comes from the Acharya in the line. Because there are two types of people Bhagavatam speaks about. One is a jnani type. They will not be able to sit in the class and listen to a Vaishnava sermons. They will open their own matha and they will do impersonalistic activities, philanthropic activities. They are not interested in Krishna Katha. And there is another person who is a sense gratifier, and that person is always someone who gives excuses. My children have studies, and I have to make money now. I have to do this, I have to do that. They have excuses. These two people cannot come to bhakti, he says. Yadrichaya matkatado jata shraddhasti hapuman. The shraddha comes from Acharya and the Mahat Kripa. It comes. Therefore, you will see recently in the Harinam Sankirtan, which I go in Hyderabad daily morning, I saw one of the devotees who drives a scooter taking the speaker. He had a wound in the knee. He had a bandage also. Still he was driving. He was coming. And he has two children, one daughter and son. So how these people have developed a strong intensity in bhakti, it's only by Mahat Kripa, Sadhu Kripa. Otherwise, impersonalism and materialism, sense gratification, this is rampant in this material world. And Srila Prabhupada dismissed both of them in the lives of his followers by giving 4 regulative principles to get rid of sense gratification, and by presenting the pure philosophy of Krishna consciousness, establishing deities of Shri Radha and Krishna, Gaur Nitai, all across the globe, and bringing people to sanity and personalism, and taking shelter of the Lord and doing Shuddha Bhakti. So this is something, such a marvelous, laudable service that Prabhupada did for all of us in our lives. Even Brahma's lifespan is not enough to glorify him sufficiently. Srila Prabhupada ki.
Thank you, Radheshyam Prabhu. And before Brindavan Prabhu makes his offering, I would like to request His Grace Dayal Chandra Prabhu, please be ready.
When I first joined Krishna consciousness in early 80s, I was curious to know the first devotees who joined Krishna consciousness in New York. And I was fortunate to meet them when I was in New Vrindavan. And I asked the same question to this first batch of devotees who took initiation from Srila Prabhupada in 26 2nd Avenue. Kirtananda Maharaj, Rameshwar Maharaj, and Brahmananda Maharaj. I asked the same question because I was curious to know. Prabhupada struggled so much in India for 40 years, and he could make only one disciple just for the namesake. He could not help much for Prabhupada. I was curious to know how these people felt so much surrender. What made them to surrender their life within just months from Prabhupada started preaching in 26 2nd Avenue. So these 3 devotees who later on, Sri Kirtananda Maharaj is the first brahmachari, first sannyasi, first temple president, first cook, and first assistant of Srila Prabhupada. Brahmananda Prabhu is the Brahman Maharaj at that time is the first person who helped Prabhupada to print Bhagavad Gita. And Rameshwar Maharaj, who is the in charge of BBT, who printed Chaitanya Charitamrita in record time in just 1.5 months. I think 1 month. So this is a great achievement, how these devotees were so empowered. So I asked them, and all 3 of them, in different times, they gave the same answer. He said, Prabhupada could see something in us which we could not see. So Brahmananda Maharaj told me, everyone has the potency to do big for Krishna because it is not what we do, it is Krishna does. Only thing we have to develop our Krishna consciousness to that level. Then we will see how Krishna is doing everything. So, another time, Gargamuni, who is the brother of Brahmananda Maharaj at that time, uh, we were having a talk and he said, you want to know the secret Prabhupada told me about advancing in Krishna consciousness? I was very curious. Yes, please let me know. He said one time, that's his experience, when Prabhupada came to America, no one know the etiquette of how to behave with a sadhu. Mukund Maharaj writes in his book that one time he was traveling with Prabhupada and he ate one apple and afterwards he asked, Swamiji, would you like to share this apple with you? You know, so this kind of treatment Prabhupada was getting in the beginning. They don't even know how to treat Swami. They don't even know how to treat a sannyasi. So Prabhupada started preaching and they don't know how to offer obeisances. Now all these devotees were standing and in front of them, Prabhupada said, I will show you how to offer obeisances to sadhu or sannyasi or a devotee. And he offered his dandavats on the floor. And he offered his prayers to his Guru Maharaj. And then he said, now you all of you do it. And all of them, they did the same thing what Prabhupada did, except for one, and that was Gargamuni. So Prabhupada asked him, why don't you offer your obeisances? And they're so innocent. And he said, I don't feel like. I don't feel like. Then Prabhupada said, this is very important if you want to advance in Krishna consciousness. Gargamuni said, this is the secret of Krishna consciousness. That Prabhupada said, even if you don't feel it, do it. And start doing it, and then you'll start feeling it. Whole Krishna consciousness process is like this. Even if you don't feel, we should try to preach, try to chant Hare Krishna, try to read books, try to associate, even if you don't like it. Just have a faith in Prabhupada's words and keep on doing it. And then we will see the feeling will come later. And then he said on his own, he said it is just like when someone gets married, husband and wife, they do not have that much of a love between each other. But just by their relationship, they develop so much attachment that at the time of death, they cannot forget. So similarly, Krishna consciousness is our connection with Guru and Krishna. In the beginning, we may not have that love, but because we have accepted this process, out of duty, if we start doing it, a feeling will come. But that feeling we will see from the great devotees, Mahajanogatasa Pantha. These devotees have feeling, and we absorb in the feelings they are feeling, and then we start the same feeling within us. So another time, Prabhupada, he said, he was giving a lecture in New York, and he said, if you just follow this process of Krishna consciousness, I guarantee that I will personally take you all back home, back to Godhead. Then he finished the lecture, and then he came down, and there are 3 steps. So he came down 1 step, and then he said, if you just become 80% of Krishna consciousness, I will take you personally back home, back to Godhead. So devotees thought, oh, it's a good concession, Hari Bol. Everybody chanted, Hari Bol. And then he got 1 more step down. And then he said, even if you become 70% Krishna conscious, I promise, I guarantee, I will take you back home, back to Godhead. And devotees were so enthusiastic. They said loudly, Hari Bol. Then he got down 1 more step down. He said, even if you become 60% Krishna conscious, I promise you, I will take back home, back to Godhead. And so much loud Hari Bol. Then there was no steps afterwards. So what does it mean? We should try 60%, 40% Krishna will fill up, or whatever is there. Sometimes we have this, as you start advancing, you will start realizing I am not at all perfect. No, in the beginning, whenever we do anything, I'm so perfect. But as you grow in Krishna consciousness, you start realizing I'm not at all perfect. I do so many mistakes, so many conditioning, so many things are there. Is it possible that I'm going to go back to Godhead? So, most important, Prabhupada said, be honest in whatever you are doing. And then that will help us in practicing Krishna consciousness. So Prabhupada gives us so much concession. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given concession. More than that, Prabhupada says 60%. So even if we try our best, that means maximum effort should be done by us. And whatever is lacking, Krishna will try, make it up. So therefore, another time, Prabhupada, there was one devotee who was in a big position. And other devotees complained to Prabhupada. Said, Prabhupada, he is in such a big position, and one who is in big position should be an exemplary character. He should be exemplary. He don't even follow four regular principles. He don't even come for morning program. He don't come for chanting. And he should be kicked out, not only from his position, but from iskcon. And Prabhupada looked at him. He said, but I like his serving attitude. No, he was quiet. And then he said, there is no end to Lord Nityananda Prabhu's mercy. And that is what we can see. There is no end to Srila Prabhupada's mercy. If you just follow his instructions, the feeling will come later. For some, feeling may come immediately. I'm talking about me. So, Srila Prabhupada, even though most of us, we are sitting here, we have not seen Prabhupada, we have just heard about Prabhupada, heard his lectures, read his books, and just Vani association is changing the world. And Prabhupada said, mark my word, one day the whole world will recognize the contribution of our iskcon movement. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you, Vrindavan Prabhu. And before Dayal Chandra Prabhu makes his offering, I would like to request Rohini Nandan Prabhu, please be ready.
Dear Srila Prabhupada, kindly accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Guru and Gauranga. In the year 1922, you first met your spiritual master, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, in Ulta Danga Road, Calcutta. As soon as you entered there, you gave an offering, obeisances. Just when you got up from that obeisances, your Guru Maharaj gave the instruction. You are all young, educated boys. You should take this Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's gospel to Western countries and preach in English language. Prabhupada was shocked. I am not having any communication. He is directly giving an instruction. What is this? This was the first meeting and the first instruction. And Prabhupada said, Swamiji, we are in Gandhi movement for Indian independence. He started arguing. He has argued so much. Who will listen us, Swamiji? When we go and preach, who will listen us? We are under British rule. Unless we get independence, we cannot take this movement preaching. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, you are under British rule or you are independent yourself. In that rule, does not make any difference. It is the Indian's duty to give this spiritual knowledge to the entire universe. Let the material situation may be anything. It makes no difference. Giving the spiritual knowledge, giving Radha Krishna to the whole universe, it is the main spiritual duty. So Krishna is pleased. It is main eternal job. It is a transcendental knowledge. Prabhupada was always defeating others. That time he thinks with so much argument. This time Prabhupada said, he thought, I myself got a different opinion of one of India's I was trying for. I was looking for a small Indian independent, but this Swamiji wanted to liberate the whole universe, whole world, whole Vishwa. Hence, I consider this Swamiji within my heart. He is my spiritual master. Prabhupada, you are given this moment, your life and soul. In 1965, you have traveled to the Western countries. 1966, you have established ISKCON. Prabhupada, some or the other, by hook or crook, you did it. You successfully implanted Krishna consciousness within the unfriendly and barren Western soil. Then many thousands of Europeans and Americans have joined this movement. Indeed, it is spreading like a wildfire. The cult of Krishna consciousness is based on 9 principles. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam. Pada Sevanam, Atma Nivedana will never be stopped. It will go on without distinction of caste, creed, color, country. No one can check it. It will constantly grow like wildfire. Anybody could astounded by your accomplishment, as well as the combined theoretical and practical means you adopted all success. With your affectionate and expert dealings, you have completed the Shastric and practical wisdom. You, like the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, are loved by everyone and loved by everyone, for you are non-envious, fully devoted and wise. That's why in Vrindavan you always say, I have started a temple, let some of my boys become Goswamis. Then my movement is perfect. And you are only the Acharya, this is very, very important point I feel like, was against the sense gratification. You warned that sense gratification, if you go for, you will be in miserable condition. Use it bare minimum. You have not come here for sense gratification, you have come here for self-realization. You can perfect your Krishna consciousness sincerely by chanting 16 round japa offenselessly, follow 4 regulative principles strictly, no meat eating, no illicit sex, no intoxication, no gambling. Of course, it sounds very fine, but it is very difficult to do it. Practically it is. Regular association with devotees, sadhu sangha, regular reading the scripture, no further sinful activities. You have to finish your sinful activities. By maintaining pure Krishna consciousness life, person will go back home, back to Godhead. If you have not come to pure Krishna consciousness, it is very difficult to go there. In this auspicious day of Prabhupada's departure, I wanted to say something that it was referred by Ravindra Swarup, because one press person had come, press reporter. Prabhupada was in one of the airport. He came and took the mic to his mouth, and he was started asking question. Swamiji, What is the difference between Buddhism and your cult? Your cult. What is the difference between your cult and Buddhism? Prabhupada just saw that man. He said, we are not considering about Buddhism or Hinduism. We are preaching the truth from Bhagavad Gita. We are giving the truth from Bhagavad Gita. Krishna to Arjuna. So, if you are truthful, it will attract you. Prabhupada said and walked. There was a big moneyed man at that time, it was Rockefeller. So he used to do big projects and all in America. Prabhupada said, this person is doing all big projects. He'll be dejected. He'll be failure. He'll be totally nowhere he'll be. Whatever the expense he does it, big project he takes it. You know why? He's all have got material consciousness. There is no spiritual consciousness. That's why he'll be dejected. He'll be failure. And there is Jananivas Prabhu who was saying that Prabhupada was saying most of the time, it is very simple to chant Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. It is very simple. Very simple, very simple, very simple. But you miss it. This was Prabhupada. It was very simple. But you miss it. And one person was, the people were saying, you are Western devotees, they are not having a proper pronunciation of Sanskrit. They are not proper pronunciation. They were complaining with Prabhupada. Prabhupada said, yes, they are not having proper pronunciation, but they are having wonderful renunciation. So this was the thing. So on this wonderful day, there is lots of things when we want to talk. Even entire day we can speak about Prabhupada. And this day, so we have to beg to Prabhupada just to, whatever the simple Mahamantra which is there, that we have to take it very seriously. And that has got ultimate everything. And we pray from Prabhupada just to give some knowledge to make us a servant of the servant of the servant as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dayal Chandra Prabhu. And before Ranindra Prabhu makes his offering, I would like to request Namamrita Prabhu, please be ready.
Hare Krishna. Baldev Prabhu suggested that if I like, I may speak in Hindi as well. So I'll try. Srila Prabhupada, your natural compassion, Jiva Daya, tolerance, mercy, patience, and above all, your service to your Guru Maharaj, you have given us an opportunity to get out of this messy situation of gross materialistic life. अगर श्रील प्रभुपाद विदेश में जाकर इस तरह से ट्रेवल करके अपने आप को तकलीफ देके सांसारिक दृष्टिकोण से ये सब नहीं करते जो उन्होंने किया, तो क्या आज हम यहाँ पर पूरी धाम में होते, जैसा कि हिज होलीनेस राधानाथ स्वामी महाराज ने कल हमें बताया। तो जैसा अभी रघुनाथ प्रभु बता रहे थे कि पाश्चात्य देश में कितना डिफिकल्ट है ये हमने सुना है कितना डिफिकल्ट है, लेकिन उसका अनुभव करने के लिए आपको पाश्चात्य देश के लोगों के साथ इंटरेक्ट करना पड़ेगा। 40 साल की आध्यात्मिक जीवन में प्रयास करने के पश्चात मेरा कुछ ऐसा इंटरेक्शन एक व्यक्ति के साथ हुआ। ईमानदारी से मानिए, मेरे पास में वो शब्द नहीं थे जो मैं बोल सकूं उस व्यक्ति को कृष्ण भावना भावित होने के विषय में। जब प्रभुपाद विदेश जा रहे थे तो उनकी प्रार्थना में एक प्रमुख प्रार्थना क्या थी? मेक माय वर्ड्स और लैंग्वेज suitable for their understanding। इस तरह की एक नम्र प्रार्थना, जीव के प्रति दया और ऑब्स्टिकल, कितनी समस्याओं को उन्होंने अपने जीवन में हम सब तक कृष्ण को पहुंचाने के लिए जो किया, उसके लिए हम उनके हमेशा ऋणी रहेंगे। उनका फेथ, जैसा कि हम सुनते चले आ रहे हैं, हरि नाम के विषय में भागवतम के 6वें अध्याय के दूसरे चैप्टर में, कंटो 6वें कंटो के दूसरे चैप्टर के 14वां श्लोक में हमें एक दृष्टिकोण से हम ये दे सकते हैं कि हमको प्रेरित करने के लिए बोला गया श्लोक है, लेकिन प्रभुपाद जी का इसके अंदर कितना विश्वास था कि हर श्रेणी के हर व्यक्ति को उन्होंने सेवा में लगाया। उसका तात्पर्य इस तरह से है, संकेतम, सिर्फ संकेत मात्र से, परिहास्यम, जोकिंगली, स्तोभम, यानी कि म्यूजिकल एंटरटेनमेंट के हिसाब से भी, हेलेनम, और इवन नेग्लेक्टफुली। अगर हम भगवान का नाम लेते हैं तो प्रभुपाद जी ने हमको इस परपोर्ट के और इस ट्रांसलेशन के द्वारा हमारे जन्म जन्मांतर के पाप इससे नष्ट हो जाएंगे, ऐसा स्क्रिप्चरल निचोड़ है। ये ज्ञान हमें कहां से मिलता अगर श्रील प्रभुपाद हमारे पर कृपा नहीं करते? Through his life and activity, he infused these qualities of compassion and mercy in his wonderful disciples. All the disciples are now infusing these qualities in their students. So, Srila Prabhupada, I have not only read and heard your glorious qualities, but have experienced your compassion, mercy, tolerance, patience, and more bestowed upon me by your genuine follower. Yesterday, my Guru Maharaj reminded what he said, and जैसा कि वो हमेशा अपने क्लासेस में हमको बताते रहते हैं। क्या बताया? How can there be any situation where there is no obstacle? ऐसी कब स्थिति कब आएगी जब जीवन में समस्या नहीं होंगी? But the good news is what? And all obstacles are servant of our friend. Who's our friend? Krishna. But in our case, Krishna manifests through his devotees, given to us by the mercy of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. In 4 decades, as a practicing sadhak, I have experienced obstacle at professional level. Recently, my family experienced a very unique situation. And now, while trying to serve you and your servant, the challenges continue. Yesterday, His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj said, a neophyte devotee think that when I take bhakti, things will go my way. But a sincere devotee understand that however things go, I must serve Krishna. Srila Prabhupada, I am not sincere at a desired level of expectation, but by your mercy, I am surrounded by some serious and sincere devotees. I see your same mercy and compassion is available to me through them, who encourages me to continue my services. Thank you, Srila Prabhupada, for this wealth. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Rundan Prabhu. And before His Grace Namamrita Prabhu makes his offering, I would like to request Radha Gopinath Prabhu to please be ready. So we have a very special guest here today. This is Namamrita Prabhu, the son of a very senior and a very advanced disciple of Srila Prabhupada, His Grace Yogeshwar Prabhu. And just now he told me that his father has never been to Puri throughout all his 50 years or maybe more or so. So I told him that in the Bhagavatam it is said that the son represents the father. So we would like to extend our heartfelt best wishes and also our appreciation for Yogeshwar Prabhu and his son, the second generation devotee, and he's continuing in his bhakti lives so nicely. So enthusiastically, let us welcome him by chanting Hari Bol 3 times. Thank you.
You sure did embarrass me, Prabhu, just like you said. Thank you. I'm certainly not qualified to be here in front of so many people, and I'm not so qualified to speak about Srila Prabhupada. But even if I'm not always conscious of Srila Prabhupada, he is actually omnipresent in my life, and I know that every little bit of my spiritual journey is completely due to him. My name is Namamrita Das, and yes, I was born to disciples of Srila Prabhupada, Yogeshwar Prabhu, and my mother, Jyotirmayi Prabhu. And I grew up with Srila Prabhupada, but even though I was born in the movement, I know I've spent many, many lifetimes and many decades in this lifetime in pursuit of enjoying material nature. I only went to Gurukul until I was 8 years old, and after that my material journey began, going to high school and college and not having so much devotee association. Had lovely friends, but they were not devotees. But the seed of Krishna consciousness, which Srila Prabhupada gave to my parents, was deeply anchored in my heart nonetheless. And even though I was living amongst non-devotees, I knew that it just needed to be properly watered by some devotion. One example is I would be in high school going to a dance club with friends because I'm a social person and that's what we do. But I felt so lost, and I was praying to Krishna and chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, thinking this is just not my home. I feel so out of place. So somehow in 2007, I took initiation from His Holiness Radhanath Swami, and in 2011, my wife and my daughter and I, we moved to a devotee community after so many years to Alachua in Florida in the United States. And so jumping forward, I've always wanted to go on a pilgrimage, having grown up in the movement. I knew so much about Krishna philosophy, but I've never been to the actual Holy Land where I can see all these things physically present. So finally, the first time I went, I arrived in Mumbai, and it was really to meet this nice devotee who would become my wife. And I was in the temple, and the devotees are asking who I was and finding out it's the first time that I'm in India. And they're like, why are you here in Mumbai? You should be in Vrindavan, Mayapur. I'm like, yes, Prabhu, but I came here to meet the Mataji. And then the next time, I finally went to Vrindavan, Mayapur, and I got engaged there, and I got married there. But I always had this deep desire to come on an actual pilgrimage, and this is the first time that I get to do this. My wife and my daughter are still at home, they couldn't come. But by the grace of Srila Prabhu and Mother Madhumati, who live in Alachua, I was told about this yatra, and I realized that I could make it happen with my work schedule. So, a little bit about my realizations coming to this yatra about Srila Prabhupada's mercy. I'm actually an airline pilot, and I usually chant the Nrsimha prayer before every flight for the protection of the passengers. But never I thought when I arrived, but when I arrived at the Delhi airport for my connection to Bhubaneswar, so many devotees were there. Very close friends of mine that I know from Atlanta and Alachua. And before we boarded, we started doing Mangal Artik in the airport. Full Mangal Artik. Tulsi Puja, holding the iPhones with the photos of Tulsi and Srila Prabhupada. And then they asked me to lead Guru Puja. And then I see all these devotees boarding onto the flight to Bhubaneswar. Like most of the flight was devotees walking on with japa beads. And I was thinking, this is only thanks to Srila Prabhupada. And then when the plane started to taxi before takeoff, I could hear in the back dozens of devotees clapping their hands and singing Nrsimha prayer like I usually do on the outside of the airplane. So this is where the miracle of the yatra and coming to holy places began by the grace of Srila Prabhupada's devotees. So, forgive me, I tried to catch up my notes. Yes, so 4 months ago, approximately, Raghunath Swami was in Alachua, and I would say I was in a bit of a midlife crisis since I turned 40. I'm 44 now. And for many years, I was having a really difficult time with my Krishna consciousness, my sadhana. Life was so difficult with have a disabled child. My work schedule was so difficult to maintain. But Maharaj gave an initiation in Alachua, and I decided this is my time to recommit. So I sat on the side of the initiation, and I meditated, thinking, let me recommit to my own initiation vows. And I got to spend a little bit of time with Maharaj, and he completely transformed my life. And as I was coming to this yatra, and having seen Maharaj, I was on such a spiritual high, and I tried to maintain it, but sure enough, as time comes, I maintain my sadhana, but my consciousness was still degrading because of being exposed to material nature. But as I arrived here, and I was amongst so many devotees, and yesterday having gone for the first time to the Gambhira and the Siddha Bakul and seeing the Jagannath temple, I chanted today the best 16 rounds of my entire life, having so many realizations. So much can come from these yatras, and I'm just so thankful to Srila Prabhupada and to all the devotees for making this possible, for those who don't live in India, who don't live in the Dham, and who are in this environment that is so difficult to maintain the spiritual consciousness. So my prayer to Srila Prabhupada is Disappearance Day, is that I may maintain, I think this is like the halfway point of my life if I live a full life, so I hope that I can maintain these spiritual feelings as I go back to my daily life, and that I can maintain good habits and carry the gift of the Holy Dham in my daily life, chant with sincerity, and be of service to Srila Prabhupada's movement. While managing my career and my family, I want to serve on the forefront of the expansion of Srila Prabhupada's movement and the association of devotees. There is so much to be done in eternity as a thanks to Srila Prabhupada. Please give me your blessings. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Namamrit Prabhu. And before Radha Gopinath Prabhu makes his offering, I would like to request Dwarkadish Prabhu to please be ready. I remember once Maharaj talked to a Gurukuli boy and said that, what can I say about your special birth? Your body is made up of Mahaprasad. So, Prabhu, whatever you say about your understanding, we all respect all of Srila Prabhupada's disciples' children. As Prabhupada said, never forget they are all very special. So thanks once again.
In 2007 or 8, I attended a communications seminar, and there conducting it was His Grace Anuttam Prabhu, one of Prabhupada's disciples, his communication minister. And while making a point about how to communicate, especially with reporters who basically have their own needs, interest, and concern. They want some controversy, they want some sensation, they want some news which is attractive. As they have a very clear focus on what they want, he said, you have to be very clear on what you want to communicate. Then the rest is a detail. And he gave the example of Srila Prabhupada, who had very clear focus, Ekeha Kurunandana. And he said, he gave an example. Say for example, you want to communicate to any reporter who has come to interview about Janmashtami festival in your event, whatever. You have to communicate and always have 3 points with you. And whatever the question is, go around and bring it to your one of the 3 points. So he said, for example, ISKCON is an ancient organization. It's nothing new. It's not a new age stuff. Second, it is authentic. It's not some hodgepodge. It's very authentic, pure. And third, it is welfare oriented. If you have this, so someone asks you, okay, what is that little dirt or mud on your face? Which they may ask. So the answer could be, it's clay from an ancient river in India, which we put on our head to mark it as a temple of the Lord. So you communicated one message, that it's ancient, whatever we are giving in it, though whatever the question is. Anyway, so some time back, to prepare for a talk, I was reading from the preface of the Bhagavad Gita, where Prabhupada makes a very interesting statement. He says, our Krishna consciousness movement is genuine, historically authorized, natural, and transcendental due to its being based on Bhagavad Gita as it is. And it was so reassuring. So it is historically authorized. Imam vivasvate yogam proktavan aham avyayam. It was given to the sun god millions of years ago. He gave it to Manu, who gave it to Ikshvaku. So it's not a new age stuff. It's not some concoction in someone's sterile brain. And the second thing is it is authentic, it's genuine. As Bhagavad begins, Dharma projita kaitavotra paramo. It's absolutely 100% pure. The message is pure. It has no contamination of anything. It's pure, 100% pure. And the third is it is welfare oriented, meaning it has the capacity and the ability to give the highest benefit to the largest amount of people for the longest amount of time. It can give the highest benefit. What is the highest benefit? Yad gatva na nivartante tad dhama paramam mama. It can give you the highest benefit of going back to the spiritual world where there is no problem whatsoever that you will ever face. To the largest amount of people. Why? Because yatha taror mula nishechane. Because you're watering the root of the tree, you are actually satisfying. Yasmin tushte jagat tushtam. You're actually satisfying every living entity. Whether you know it or not, whether you understand it or not, whether we believe it or not. The fact is we are watering the root of the tree. Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate. And the third, for the longest amount of time, yad gatva na nivartante. So, these three adjectives that he had spoken way back in 2007 was reaffirmed. And to know that the same Krishna came as Lord Chaitanya and took the essence of all the four Vaishnava traditions. From the Madhva Sampradaya, he actually took initiation and took the top two of the deity of worship of the deity as absolute truth and defeating Mayavad, and service to Vaishnavas and pure devotional service without karma and jnana mishra from the Sri Sampradaya. And then from the Rudra Sampradaya, he took which is Vallabh Sampradaya, Rag Bhakti, and also one more I forget right now. And from the Kumara Sampradaya, he took the position of Srimati Radharani as a supreme and also the high exalted nature of the gopis' love. All of that Lord Chaitanya brought it through him, his movement. He's the source of all the sampradayas. He took it. And that is being brought to us without seeing any qualification. Patra apatra na dekhe sthana sthan. Jai jahan paye tahan kare premadam. And that profusely, worldwide, was distributed by Srila Prabhupada. Without and practically demonstrating the power and the potency, going to a place where absolutely there is no conception of, Vedic literature, what to speak of the Vaishnava, and within that the essence of all the four sampradayas, and demonstrated its power and the potency by from a material standard, the lowest kind of qualification, literally right in front of our eyes, taking them to the highest level of qualification. Absolutely nothing short of causeless mercy. It is so difficult to remain or maintain the purity of this message. As His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj says, if we are not a part of the solution, by default we could become a part of the problem. And very easily we can dilute, we can compromise, and even deviate from the pure mission if we do not have the right perspective. I remember, just Bhaktivinoda Thakur's time, there were 13 apasampradayas detected even within the Vaishnava Gaudiya tradition. What to speak of, us. I remember in 90, sometimes the political pressure, somebody just now said about the political situation prevailing during Prabhupada's time. The whole intelligentsia of India, anyone who's who of Indian, whether you call it political field, economic field, every field was talking about independence. At that time, to maintain the clarity, to present the purity of Krishna consciousness, it's extremely difficult. I would like to give an example how I felt about the surrounding environment, both internally and externally, can influence for us to get digressed. In September 21st, 1995, suddenly the whole world, the news spread that Lord Ganesh is drinking milk. It was Ganesh Chaturthi day. And no, it is not Ganesh Chaturthi. Just like that. And everyone, it was spreading like wildfire. And everyone was trying to feed milk. Milk was actually sold out. It was a high demand that day. You could pay any amount and still not get milk. And everyone was trying, and so many phone calls came to the temple. Prabhuji, we have Ganesh deity right on top of our door. Can you just try it out? And somebody said, senior devotees called up. Gopinath ji ko pila ke dekho. Pee rahe hain kya? Hamare ghar mein deities pee gaye. Everyone was trying everything. And just sheerly by the pressure and the environment that was created, a lot of devotees tried out and also said that, yeah, pee rahe. Drinking actually. And next Sunday, and one of our very senior devotees put a ladder, got onto it. Somebody gave him a cup and a spoon, and he was trying to feed milk to the Ganeshji right on top of our door. And downstairs there was this Bhola's classes going on, and all of them were coming there and watching. And I was standing behind and watching the whole thing. Partly excited, partly confused. And suddenly I see Radhanath Swami Maharaj walking from the side. And I didn't know where to run because I was surrounded by these kids from that classes. And so he saw me. He looked at it and said, what happened? I said, Maharaj, Ganesh is drinking milk. He said, what? And I said, no, Maharaj, this news has come in the, and Ganeshji is drinking milk. He just looked, and that devotee jumped from the staircase, ran away. The only person stuck was me, as usual. And anyway, I explained, and Maharaj laughed typically, shaking his shoulder, and he left. And the next Sunday, he gave the Bhagavatam class to the whole community. And he was speaking. So, people are talking about Ganesh drinking milk. He said, why was it so exciting? It's not that people fell in love with Ganesh that day because he was drinking milk. It's just the excitement. Wow, a piece of stone really drinks milk. Or, I saw it. At least generations later they'll say, मैंने अपने आंखों से देखा. I saw it with my own eyes. So it's not about devotion. It's about excitement and having been witness to such a thing. And then he said, Krishna says in the Gita, I eat. Patram pushpam palam toyam yome bhaktya tadaham bhakti upartam ashnami. I eat. You do not have faith in that statement? Every day you people eat Mahaprasad of Radha Gopinath. 6 offerings a day. What was that? Is that not prasad? Is Lord Gopinath not eating? So, really kind of jolting us to see from scriptural point of view, Shastra Chakshu, and not Charma Chakshu or Manos Chakshu, or, perverted intelligent Chakshu. So on this very auspicious day, I pray at the feet of Srila Prabhupada to give me the clarity without confusion, the conviction without doubt, and the courage for determined Krishna conscious conclusive action without fear, hesitation, or lethargy, with my body, mind, and words, to remain loyal and faithful to the glorious stream of the pristine, clear message given by Krishna to Brahma and brought at our doorstep, so to say, by the glorious parampara, that I may also become simply a humble instrument to deliver that message, or be beneficiary of that message first, janma sarthaka kari, and be a instrument of the Lord's compassion to share this message. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki.
Thank you, Radha Gopinath Prabhu. And before Dwarkarish Prabhu makes his offering, I would like to request His Grace Giriraj Prabhu to be ready. It is interesting that Radha Gopinath Prabhu was the one who was sent to Jaipur to bring our Ganesh deity. And throughout the train journey, he had kept the Ganesh deity on his lap. So it is quite befitting that he doubted that, and therefore Maharaj kind of settled the account.
What a glorious day we are today celebrating. How many people in the world, after these many years of departure, will have such a pompous celebration commemorating their invaluable contributions to this global community. Prabhupada was a perfect acharya, and there is unlimited lessons we can learn from him. When you look at the Antya Leela of Srila Prabhupada, we see in him a person who taught us how to live, and even more importantly, how to die. He taught us the entire spectrum of human existence in relation to Krishna. Imagine being in that stage where Prabhupada was, where he was reduced to such a emaciated state of existence, and taking the bold decision to go to London just before the departure. I believe it was in August. It must have been such a difficult journey to fly from India, from Delhi to London in that state.
And yet he knew that the only thing which will sustain the lives of his disciples is his love. What sustains the devotional community is the love for the spiritual masters and amongst the Vaishnavas. They knew for sure that Prabhupada would be happy with something which they will do for him, which will make him truly, since he had come all the way to London, they would do something for him special. So they went on a rampage to distribute Srila Prabhupada his books. And in one day, they distributed 7,000 Bhagavad Gitas. And as long as he was there, Prabhupada very happily sitting on his special seat, accepted the Guru Puja celebrations which his devotees offered him, and they would just jump in the air several feet high, so happy that their spiritual master was there with them. And Prabhupada would receive their love and reciprocate with a stream of tears flowing from his beautiful lotus eyes. And then the last chapter was to be there, Prabhupada in Vrindavan. Why Vrindavan? Because Vrindavan is Srila Prabhupada's eternal home. He said, Bombay is my office, and Siddha Mayapur is my place of worship. So now he was under the complete shelter of Sri Krishna and Balaram. And Prabhupada said, now whatever happens, he will decide. Devotees became very concerned because Prabhupada started voicing emotions that he may not live too long in this world. One of his disciples went to Delhi and got an astrologer to really work on Prabhupada's chart. One astrologer, Ashutosh Roy, said that these are the dates where Srila Prabhupada has some high risk, and if he covers these dates, he will probably live for a long, long time. However, I suggest that if you ask some bona fide brahmanas of your society to chant this particular mantra of Lord Shiva, the Mahamrutyunjay Japa, then Prabhupada can be averted from his medical disaster. So he went to Srila Prabhupada and said, Prabhupada, can you chant this mantra, this mantra for you? Prabhupada said, we already have the Maha Mantra. We don't need any other mantra. Prabhupada's implicit faith that his life and all our lives are in Krishna's hands. And we do not have to subject ourselves to any sub-religious principles to just maintain this bag of bones. Prabhupada said we have to have, when you're sick, you have to have a diet and then you need to have medicine. And Prabhupada said, my medicine will be Harinam and my diet will be Charanamrita. This was the only diet he sustained himself for those last few days. And I think he took some Complan also in between. So devotees were allowed to come one by one. He had given his open invitation that as many disciples there are all over the world can come and really be there in his physical presence. Because Prabhupada knew that that physical proximity of his Vapu and serving him personally before he leaves the world will anchor them after his departure. And therefore, so many disciples came. They were allowed to sing for him. They were allowed to massage him. They were able to caress him. They were able to pray for him. They were allowed to do whatever services they wanted to render. Kirtananda Swami Maharaj came from New Vrindavan. And he brought in an ice pack ice cream for Srila Prabhupada from New Vrindavan. From his favorite cow, the first cow of ISKCON, Mother Kalia. Prabhupada's favorite cow. Prabhupada had a bite of the ice cream. And he brought a few dollars from the Diksha which Prabhupada had given to his disciples then. And he gave it to him. Prabhupada said, give it to so-and-so. and he brought a beautiful ring for Prabhupada. I believe it was containing some topaz stone or something like that. Prabhupada saw the ring and said, "So, where is the bride?" So even in that state which Prabhupada was, he had this very profound sense of, being very witty, and his humor was still intact. His brains, I mean, it is really surprising, talking medically, somebody who was on a particular zero-calorie diet and is only living on like Dadich. See, when the Bhagavatam 6th canto talks about Dadich Maharaj, was sustaining his body through his bones. So some devotee said, Prabhupada is like Dadich. With a zero-calorie diet, how would your brains work so sharp? It's not possible. I do not know if it is the same ring, but Prabhupada was sleeping, and then his mind went to George Harrison. And Tamarishya Maharaj was fanning him and says, took out the ring and said, "Give this to George." It is very beautiful to see Prabhupada in a state of complete gratitude for all those disciples who had done so much for him. They had given their lives to him wholesale. And yet, among all of them, there was somebody who was not quote unquote a disciple, but had really been the instrument in Prabhupada's hands to bring the Mahamantra to the entire Western Hemisphere. That was George. And therefore, Prabhupada's heart flew in gratitude towards him. And his memento, he gave his personal ring to Tamal to deliver to George. Vedanta Maharaj brought the Portuguese edition of some books, and that was Prabhupada's great joy. Even during those days, last few days, he was so happy to receive his books. He had come to give the world his books because Prabhupada knew that he will live for a period of time which Krishna wants him to live in this world, the tenure of his physical existence, and yet he will live beyond that tenure through his books. And therefore, the books were his legacy to this world. And therefore, when the books would come to he would see the books, he would be very happy and said, "This is life. What are the use of maintaining this bag of bones?" Devotees show him pictures of the celebrations of Janamastami in various centers, and we're so happy. Prabhupada kept on drinking the nectar of the holy name. His Gopadaras came to see him because they loved him so much. And Prabhupada said, with folded hand, he said, "If there has been any offenses I have made to all of you, dear God brothers and God sisters, please excuse me, because sometimes in the preaching mission, we may say a few things, but please excuse me if I made any offenses." And such a great Acharya. A pure devotee makes no offenses whatsoever. He is beyond offenses. Nindadi Shunyam, letter of instruction says, he is beyond. Uttamadhyagari performs no offenses. And yet Prabhupada was in a state of humility, begging forgiveness. And then they asked him, "Prabhupada, what is your desire?" Like everyone should ask a departing soul, "What is your desire?" Prabhupada said 3 words, "Kuch ichha nahi." I have no desire. This is the greatest lesson, my dear devotees, which we all have to emulate. Hopefully, through all these yatras and all these various programs and lectures and satsang which we have, we can come to a level of purification whereby we can not only say it but feel it in our hearts that we have no other desires. The only desire to love and serve Krishna in the mood of being the servants of the servants of his servants. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Dwarkadish Prabhu. And before Giriraj Prabhu makes his offering, I would like to request Madhavananda Prabhu, please be ready.
Hare Krishna. So today I would like to ponder upon amongst unlimited qualities of Srila Prabhupada, like sand on the ocean bank. One quality of Srila Prabhupada is protection. Srila Prabhupada in different sections of Srimad Bhagavatam mentions this point, that purpose of Guru Parampara is the protection of the sadhaka. Especially we as a grand disciples of Srila Prabhupada, we do feel presence of Srila Prabhupada on daily basis. Once we were going to Nashik, and on the way there was a beautiful tree filled with ramphal and shamarani, and we thought that we should have this ramphal. So I just got down of the car and thought to ask the owner. House was little away from the highway. So I went in towards the house thinking that I'll ask the owner how much is the price. And by the time I called for someone, two very ferocious, large dogs, they just jumped towards me. I could see in their eyes the anger. I could palpate revenge in their teeth. And they were very fast, they were coming towards me. And suddenly I brought out my bag with a handbag, and I just maintained a distance so that they don't jump over me. Started making some voice from my mouth, and gradually, slowly, I started backing out. By the time the house owner lady came, and barely she managed those dogs. I was a bit shaken, came in my car and sat. And I was contemplating what saved me from these ferocious dogs. It was but certain that they could have attacked me. And indeed, that shaken state, when I was contemplating, that time Srila Prabhupada, I realized that you have given in this process of Krishna consciousness, one very important factor in our life is a shelter. You have given shelter to holy name. You have given shelter at the lotus feet of Lord Nrsimhadev. You have given shelter of Tulsi Maharani. And most important, you have given shelter of your pure devotee. And this shelter, I felt, and is a reality, that is protecting every individual, Vaishnavas, struggling sadhakas in your moment. My father, who had a severe brain hemorrhage, he had lost connection with outside world completely. And on one Gaur Purnima day, I just told him, Papa, today all over the world, everybody is celebrating Gaur Purnima. And he had no connection with us. And he just smiled. And then I showed him, opened him the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Chaitanya Charitamrita. And I started showing him all the pictures from the backside. And he had no reaction. And when suddenly the last picture, that is actually the first picture of Srila Prabhupada came, suddenly his eyes became big and he said, that means he was a real personality. Srila Prabhupada, in such a serious situation, you maintain your memory in a person's mind who had lost all the connection with the outside world. And through your memory, Srila Prabhupada, the memory of Supreme Personalities, Lord Head's lotus feet would definitely be there. On the institution level, when we were building our hospital, we were in a shortage of Lakshmi. Even to have an advertisement in Times of India, we were struggling to have a 1/4 ad that Bhaktivedanta Hospital is opening. And that time, in one of our small cabins where fund collection was going on, nobody was coming. And one man with a not so clean lehenga and kurta came and he said, I want to donate something. We thought that he must be wanting one room or one bed. We offered him. He said, something more. He went on and then ultimately he donated all the wings, a wing of all 5 floors. That time it was a very big amount. Srila Prabhupada, you came through that particular Mr. Bagadia in the form of donation. By mistake, by providence, we built one small structure outside our hospital for electrical equipments. And it turned out that much structure, big structure was not required. And we were just wondering, so much money was wasted. And suddenly, one devotee, His Grace Sahadev Prabhu's elder brother comes and he asks for a separate building for a physiotherapy unit. He did not want it in our hospital building. And it so turned out, okay, by our mistake, whatever our mistake was there, was corrected by Srila Prabhupada. Recently, we went to USA for the first time in our life. We went to Tompkins Square Park, Srila Prabhupada. That tree, which was there under the very tree, you started this Hare Krishna movement. Just like your movement, Srila Prabhupada, this tree has grown very big now. At the same time, the power, it is said that to put a hand in a lion's den requires a great courage. But to get the prey in the lion's hand from the lion's mouth requires supreme courage. Srila Prabhupada, in the New York City, in the Manhattan City, the thickest center stage of Maya Devi, from that very center stage, you created pure Vaishnavas and created this International Society for Krishna Consciousness, which is spreading all over the world. Srila Prabhupada, we went to Frederick Street and there we saw your first ever Jagannathji Baldev Subramania's temple which used to be there. Now, that temple is not there. But it is a laundromat. And Srila Prabhupada, you have taught us, not even a leaf moves without the will of the Lord. Laundromat is the place where cleaning of the clothes takes place. And Srila Prabhupada, your movement is doing the same thing, cleaning the hearts and consciousness of unlimited living entities. Recently, Srila Prabhupada, we had a Vyas Puja celebration at Bhaktivedanta Hospital. That experience was very, very touching experience, where employees who are not in an external form, we can call them as a devotees, but just by being in the hospital, their heartfelt offering was extremely touching. And your mercy is reaching to such an extent that a person who is coming to work to maintain his family, even their hearts are touched by your mercy. One of the most fearful situations, at least for me, is to give class. And whenever I prepare class, Srila Prabhupada, with complete helplessness, I try to pray to you. And any topic, Srila Prabhupada, when I am preparing, I go behind Srimad Bhagavatam index on that topic. I see the number of the pages. Then I reassemble the whole those your wonderful details about the topic. And at the end of the day, every time Srila Prabhupada, I get completely mesmerized at amount of the knowledge you have put, irrespective of the variegatedness of the subject. But you have got complete and comprehensive information about the topics of which we choose for Srimad Bhagavatam. And that proves your point, Srila Prabhupada, that you have said that whatever you want, everything is there in Srimad Bhagavatam, written my purports. We went to Los Angeles, Srila Prabhupada, and there your disciple, Her Grace Jagadambika Mataji, was showing us your most beautiful museum where details of the smallest of your smallest articles which were used by you. And one thing she said, which struck me very much, she said she showed me those original paintings which was drawn during your time. And you said she said that you used to make a point that the painter will not write their name on that painting. This was a very, very important lesson for generations to come. All our services which we are doing, like those paintings, Srila Prabhupada, you did not want it, a name or recognition from our services. But Srila Prabhupada, we have seen, at least I have seen, the largest signature I have ever seen is A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami. I have not seen such big signature anywhere. And all our efforts, Srila Prabhupada, all our efforts are included. All our signatures means an effort that is included in your signature, and it is offered to Srila Prabhupada, offered to Supreme Lord. Srila Prabhupada, at our hospital, all our temples, we see your beautiful deities. And one thing is your lotus feet has got many creases. These lotus feet, Srila Prabhupada, are meant, these creases in your lotus feet are meant so that thousands of these Vaishnavas can get stuck in those creases and get eternal shelter. Thank you, Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Giriraj Prabhu. And before Madhavan Prabhu makes his offering, I would like to request Her Grace Devi Priya Mataji, please be ready.
Hare Krishna. So Giriraj Prabhu is our Kavi. So he has all poetic descriptions whenever he speaks very poetically. And it is so amazing for all of us. Even in our small families, whenever there is a yearly gathering or some gathering, we land up talking about our forefathers. And we take pride in describing them. So similarly, this is our, of course, this time it is happening after 3-4 years, but it's a yearly event where the family comes together and our grandfather, spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, we speak about his glories, his amazing achievements. And these stories are so mesmerizing that repeatedly we hear them and still we are happy to hear more and more. With every new devotee gives a special flavor to it. However, when we hear these stories, two things can happen. One is that, okay, we hear and understand how great was Srila Prabhupada. His greatness cannot be matched. He is an acharya which is of a different denomination, different kind of a status. Not that other acharyas are not important, but he has a special importance in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Parampara. So we understand his divinity and we know that we should never take it for granted. He is our eternal Shiksha Guru. Our whole movement will be always based on Srila Prabhupada's teachings, his life story, examples from the way he behaved. However, there is another side to it. So this is, I was not knowing that I'm going to speak, but I wrote down for myself how I look at it. So another side of the story is that we may look at Prabhupada and say that, oh, he was a Nitya Siddha, he was specially empowered, and he had all the Shakti, Krishna Shakti. So he could do it. So I am excused. Only he can do it. I'm not supposed to be expected to do anything what he did. But yes, the extent to which he did, obviously it is unmatched. Like we know in those 8-10 years, Srila Prabhupada, what he has created, 100 temples, let's say 10 temples a year, 100, more than 100. So many people, so many books. Now we are so many of us, and after so many years after his departure, we have not been able to match what he did. It's impossible to match. So that was his potential. Definitely it was special. Nonetheless, behind that special achievement, we must know that even though he was a Nitya Siddha Bhakta, he went through all challenges, ups and downs, depressions, loneliness, everything that we all can experience. Maybe in a much, much more magnitude than anyone of us ever gone through. And in that, still Prabhupada went on and went on and went on. So I was just contemplating what was it that Prabhupada could push on in so much adverse situation. As far as his grahastha business is concerned, a complete failure. Initial success, later on complete failure. Family life, complete failure. Preaching attempt, failure. So one after another, there is failure. Many times we say, how are you, Prabhu? Or how is everything? So generally we say, touch wood. Touch wood. Maybe the Japmala you can touch. Touch wood, everything is fine. Krishna is very merciful. But Prabhupada, Krishna was merciful even when he had to close down his League of Devotees center in Jhansi. Krishna was always wonderful for him. How did he manage to go through all this? What was that feature in his life? So that I just checked myself how Prabhupada's life is. And one thing we can see, even in his purports, Srila Prabhupada's purports are not politically correct purports. Nowadays, many people take out some purport or some statement and say, how could Prabhupada said this? But Prabhupada is not bothered about what people think or what people will accept. Prabhupada was bothered about what his guru has taught and what is inspired to me by Krishna. And he was giving it as it is. Whether you like, you don't like, take it, don't take it. That's how it is, Prabhupada. So Prabhupada, initial lot of failures, then good success. That ISKCON became a international movement, dozens and dozens of centers. Prabhupada is world acharya, traveling acharya. So we may think that, after that everything was good. No. Even within that success, one time Srila Prabhupada went to his own Rath Yatra. Rath Yatras were started by Srila Prabhupada. In the Rath Yatra, Prabhupada would sit on the cart This time, Tamal Krishna Maharaj took him. This time, some of the neophyte devotees, they did not allow him to climb the cart. And Prabhupada was shocked. Prabhupada just came out of the crowd and told Tamal Krishna Maharaj that, please take me away from this place, is horrible. They have completely deviated. It's political. I want to be peaceful. Imagine, you have started a Rath Yatra, they are your disciples, and this is a big challenge. Now, several challenges within successful story of Srila Prabhupada's ISKCON movements also happened. And in all those moments, what was continuously sustaining him, pushing him forward, was his complete adherence to the instructions of his Gurudev, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada. And that I saw as the biggest learning lesson for me, that if somehow, because philosophy we have heard so much now, how much more to hear? Even if you hear, it's just a matter of gathering more and more information. Ultimately, it boils down to how do we follow the instructions of our spiritual master. And that Prabhupada showed by his own example. And I'm going to just quote some beautiful quotes from Srila Prabhupada, which I'll read one after another, you can relate to them. How Prabhupada, when he spoke from complete experience, that this is how I followed my spiritual master. This is how you can follow your spiritual master. The first quote is like this. Many times we feel that, does my Guru love me? Or do I love my Guru? So Prabhupada's quote is like this. Affection for the spiritual master and following the instruction of spiritual master is the same. So if you are following, the same. If you are affection, you must follow. Second quote. Follow the instructions. Then you are secure anywhere. It doesn't matter. Just like I told you that I saw my Guru Maharaj not more than 10 days in my entire life. But I followed his instruction. So many times again, we have that anguish in the heart that, oh, I am not able to get physical association of my Guru. Prabhupada just met 10 days in the whole life. There are many Prabhupada disciples who did not even meet him once, and they're great, great, wonderful souls. Another very beautiful quote. I can assure you that if you follow my instructions, there is no doubt about it that through me, my spiritual master, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, will be pleased, and through his mercy, Lord Nityananda will be pleased. Another quote. I thank you very much for your simple philosophy of following the instructions of your spiritual master. That is the sublime philosophy of Krishna consciousness. This is it. If you follow the instructions, you have understood Krishna consciousness. Another quote. If you have a bona fide spiritual master and if you simply follow instructions, the perfection is guaranteed. Just like a perfect engineer and a neophyte working under his instructions, however foolish he may be, all his work is perfect. So much applicable to me, all of us, that we may not be qualified, but if we just follow the instructions of the qualified person, even though we may not be there, what we do will be perfect. Another on personal service. Personal service to the spiritual master means to follow his instructions. And the last one reveals humility of Srila Prabhupada. He talks, when a disciple becomes perfect in spiritual life, the spiritual master feels very, very happy that I am a nonsense, but this boy, he has followed my instructions and he has achieved the success. So these are few thoughts which I thought they, on this appropriate day of Srila Prabhupada's disappearance, I can imbibe in my heart, and I thought I'll share with all of you. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Madhavan Prabhu. And now I'll request Devi Priya Mataji to make her offering. So, dear devotees, it's now 11:30 or so. I still have at least 6 or 7 wonderful devotees who have yet to make their offering. So I would like to request all those who are making their offering, would you kindly limit it to about 3.5 minutes so that other devotees who are also waiting, they also can be accommodated. We have His Holiness Bhakti Purushottam Maharaj with us. So his offering will be the last. After that, we'll have Pushpanjali, Arti for Prabhupada, and then Prasad for all. So Devi Priya Mataji now, please restrict it to 3.5 minutes. And she will be followed by Gaur Hari Prabhu from Moscow.
Actually, today, something that I'm going to speak, I have never spoken or offered in my yesteryear offerings. But every year, I feel that when I get an opportunity to speak, I shall definitely say this. So this was during 1975, 76, 77 time when I was going to college. And it was around the same time Srila Prabhupada's Pandal program was there in the Maidan. So it so happened that I would study in the morning and go across the Maidan, and I was working on the other side. So when this Pandal program was going on, I just happened to ask, some people on the road that what is happening. So they said, kuch Hare Krishna walon ka program hai. And I had always heard about it. But before that, once or twice, when the Juhu temple was under construction, I always was very curious and inquisitive. Not that I had any devotion, but I was very curious, and I used to wonder, what happens here. So some of my friends told me that, no, this is all foreign people, they come here, they dance on the roads, and they do drugs, and so you can't go inside. But that little spark, not even a spark, I would say, it was just a little curiosity and inquisitiveness as to what is happening in the Pandal. And because of that, I feel Srila Prabhupada took it so seriously that in 1980, when I changed my jobs, and in between, he orchestrated this whole my coming into Krishna consciousness, which I'm really amazed after so many years when I realized that I had given up a central government job, another bank job, just to join this public limited company, where my aunt told me that you'll get a very handsome salary. So I gave up those 2 jobs, which, some people might think I'm very foolish. But I joined this place, and just to meet His Grace Rohini Nandan Prabhu. We were colleagues at that time. And he would always preach to me about this movement. And I would say, no, I'm not interested, please. And then one fine day, he took me to Juhu temple, and he introduced me to Giriraj Swami. And that's the time when my devotional service began. He engaged us, and because of Giriraj Swami's mercy, today I have Radhanath Swami as my Guru Maharaj. So I feel it was totally orchestrated in the way I came into Krishna consciousness. And I'm so grateful to you, Srila Prabhupada. The second point I would like to make is about Srila Prabhupada empowering we women. Prabhupada always said that women are very simple and they can take up to Krishna consciousness very easily. And rightly so. Most of the women here, we will agree that we don't have so much, we are not erudite scholars in Shastras. We don't know verses. We cannot do much preaching except a few of us. So yes, and today we can see we women are really empowered by Prabhupada, his tremendous and deep compassion upon us. We have about 200 to 300 women working there in the kitchen behind, cooking for Srila Prabhupada, making all his favorite items. And also, we have almost crossed 3,500 items today for Srila Prabhupada. So I feel Srila Prabhupada and I pray to him that you please bless us and let us be simple, even if we are very highly educated and we hold very high jobs and high positions in the society, financial, economic spheres. But we really wish Srila Prabhupada to remain simple. If we can serve you, take care of our home, our husbands, our children, because that is what is going to please Prabhupada. And that is the instruction my Guru Maharaj gave me, His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj. And that keeps the whole society in peace. If we women are in peace, everything else will be peaceful. So my deepest gratitude to Srila Prabhupada, my deepest gratefulness, and that he keeps me engaged in his service, as in keeping me engaged in my Guru Maharaj service, blessing me with the same nishtha he had for Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And I pray that I serve my Guru Maharaj, make him happy and make him proud till the last breath of my life, for the rest of my life. Thank you.
Thank you, Devipriya Mataji. Before Gaurari Prabhu makes his offering, I would like to request His Grace Sridama Prabhu, please be ready. And please be mindful of the time restriction, 3.5 minutes, so that others can be accommodated.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Baladev Prabhu he asked me to be a representative of Russian Yatra. So please forgive me for my handicapped English, with which I want to express my deep gratitude to Srila Prabhupada, His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. He came to my life first as Bhagavad Gita, as it is when I was abroad as a seaman. From my very childhood, I wanted to become seaman, but when I became seaman, I understood I don't want to be seaman. So I lost my goal of life, and at the same time, I've got Bhagavad Gita as it is in Denmark, Copenhagen. And immediately after that, I start to think that maybe there is spiritual goal of life when I got Bhagavad Gita. And I start to seek, and I started from Christianity, and I like it, but I couldn't understand many things. For example, what is the difference between soul and spirit, and what it is. Because in Russian, it is similar words, dusha, duh. So, but when I started to read Bhagavad Gita as it is, I immediately started to understand what is it. And amazing thing that I didn't read Bhagavad Gita itself, I just read preface. And I just understood so many things. And in this way, Srila Prabhupada and his instructions, changed my life. But not only with instructions, but he is personally answering me. Like, for example, especially when I come to India, to holy places, when I came to many years ago to Vrindavan, and once I was standing, it was during Kirtan after Guru Puja, and I was lamenting that everything was bad for me. And that was a time when Srila Prabhupada should circumambulate the temple 3 times. And I was lamenting, and suddenly somebody shook me on the hand, and he said, "Please carry Srila Prabhupada." So, and I understood that Srila Prabhupada, I was in ecstasy. Srila Prabhupada tells me, I understood, don't lament, but serve. Serve me. And it was several times. Like another time, I was thinking, I'll be during Guru Puja, and then I leave the temple to do some other things. And I was about to leave, and I went behind Srila Prabhupada, who was in the yard of the temple. And then devotee who was fanning him with Vyanjan, he called me and told, please fan like this. And I understood again the same message of Srila Prabhupada. And this time also, you know, when you come to Vrindavan, for example, to holy place, first days are very exciting. You are the guest, and Krishna receives you as a guest, and you're feeling his response. And then when you're about to leave the holy place, you're very attentive to the details, because you are about to leave. So Krishna again, he reveals himself in some signs. But in between, it's like a kind of routine. You are chanting, you're trying hard, but as His Holiness Raghunath Maharaj told, there are many obstacles Krishna is giving to you to improve yourself. So you're feeling what is going on. And last time when I was 1 week in Vrindavan, and I was leaving it for Govardhan. So, and last day I was chanting in Srila Prabhupada's room, and I was thinking it's middle of my pilgrimage, so it's like routine time, usual routine time. So please, Srila Prabhupada, please reveal me your presence, that you're with me, you are caring about me. And while I was standing in the queue to offer pushpa to Srila Prabhupada, one senior brahmachari, he gave me garland and said, you go to Srila Prabhupada to offer. So again, I understood Srila Prabhupada is always with me. And my experience that when I was deliberating on this, I am thinking that, yes, in Krishna Balaram Mandir in Vrindavan, Srila Prabhupada is, his answer is more obvious to me, because my consciousness is more clear in Holy Dham, and I am like guest, but he is instead, in spite of it, he is always with me. He always caring about me. Like Radheshyam Prabhu said that Acharya is not different from Paramatma, Lord in the heart. So, and another message of Srila Prabhupada likes me to serve him and to serve Krishna and be happy. This is his also message. Do not lament, but serve happily, serve to Krishna and him. And service to him and to the devotees is mean to be happy. And also another experience that Srila Prabhupada is revealing himself through the devotees, like Krishna revealing himself through the devotees. So, and if we are following instructions of Srila Prabhupada, he is always with us. He will take care of us. So that was my little experience about Srila Prabhupada, his presence in my life, and I am praying to Srila Prabhupada to be his sincere follower and always follow his instructions and serve him nicely. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Gaurari Prabhu. And before Shridama Prabhu makes his offering, I would like to request Her Grace Sita Mataji to please be ready.
Hare Krishna. So we are all assembled in this holy land of Jagannath Puri, where Shriman Mahaprabhu spent, as we know, 24 years of his life, half of his life in this holy land. And some of the prominent devotees who were part of his pastimes in Jagannath Puri. And my offering is in the thought process is that how Srila Prabhupada has so beautifully been empowered and has imbibed the qualities of some of these very prominent devotees of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So one of the prominent devotees is King Prataparudra Maharaj. King Prataparudra, of course, he was a king. He was his disposition of a king, but his mood was of a humble servant. Srila Prabhupada also, his profile, the way he was a king, the way he behaved. But his mood, it was like humble servant. That I'm simply a servant. He was sitting at one place, folding his hands. His disciples came and he said, Prabhupada, what are you praying? And he said that I'm praying that I may not fall into Maya. So this is how beautifully Prabhupada has imbibed the mood of King Prataparudra. Haridas Thakur, the faith of Haridas Thakur. We all talk about the faith of Haridas Thakur. And of course, we all know what sort of faith Srila Prabhupada had in the holy names. So he has very much imbibed the mood of Haridas Thakur. And it was purely on the basis of his faith in the holy name that he did what he did. And we all know what he did. So yes, he has imbibed the mood of Haridas Thakur. Another prominent devotee in Jagannath Puri was Sri Gadar Pandit. And his prominent quality of Gadar Pandit is he relished Srimad Bhagavatam. He relished hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. He relished speaking about Srimad Bhagavatam. And of course, Srila Prabhupada, his basis of his preaching, and we all know how much he relished Srimad Bhagavatam, and how much of his teachings, how much of his effort was purely based upon Bhagavatam. In fact, he said it, that I'm not going to the West. The Bhagavatam is going to the West. But somebody has to take the Bhagavatam. So I'm going along with Bhagavatam to preach the message of Srimad Bhagavatam. So he very much imbibed the mood of Sri Gadar Pandit. Another prominent devotee was Raghunath Das Goswami, a son of a businessman, a shrewd person, very smart. We have a pastime where he dealt with a Muslim zamindar, and he really sorted out. There was a problem. They had really captured his father and uncle. He sorted it out very nicely. But at the same time, Raghunath Das Goswami was our Prayojan Acharya. Srila Prabhupada also, he said that, I am a Calcutta boy, nobody can cheat me. Yeah. So he was very shrewd and sharp. But at the same time, his understanding, his devotion was on the highest level, following in the footsteps of our Prayojan Acharya, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami. And last but not the least, Saurabhama Bhattacharya. He was the guru of the king, a scholarly person. He was such a scholar that one of the types of teachings which was only available in Mithila, he was the only person who was teaching it in Sridham, in Jagannath Puri. He was that a scholar. And Prabhupada, we all know that he is by far one of the most prolific scholars that the world has ever produced. So yes, Srila Prabhupada imbibed these beautiful qualities from this very, very effulgent, dynamic, wonderful devotees of Sri Jagannath Puri. And another beautiful pastime that happens in Jagannath Puri is a pastime between Kalidas and Jadu Thakur. It's a long pastime, but how Kalidas was always eager to take the remnants and finally approached Jadu Thakur in Sri Jagannath Puri. And of course, he tasted his remnants. That's the type of faith he had. But the point I want to drive here is, in that particular section, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami writes a beautiful words. Bhaktapada dhuliyara bhaktapada jal, bhakta bhukta avasheshati mahabal. And similarly, my dear friends, if we understand these words in today's context, Prabhupada dhuliyara Prabhupada jal, Prabhupada avasheshati mahabal. And what are these three things? Prabhupada's dhuli. What is Prabhupada dhuli? It is this glorious Vaishnavas who have surrendered their lives at his lotus feet. If we have faith in them and we love them, our life will be successful. So let us all pray today. First, to have faith in the Vaishnavas, his disciples, and all the devotees who have dedicated their life, who are at the lotus feet, like dhuli at his lotus feet. That is Prabhupada's dhuli. To have love for the Vaishnavas. Prabhupada Jal, the nectarine, what Ganges like flow of his narrations that Prabhupada has been speaking, and so much we have of Prabhupada's katha. If we have faith, if we have attachment to his vani, which is like Prabhupada's jal, which is like flowing, that will be the perfection of that is Mahabal. That will be one of the ways we can get our strength. And Prabhupada Avashesha, his pastimes, his purports, his teachings, and more important than everything else, his personal behavior, how he lived, how he operated while he was here. If we learn, and of course, how he departed from this material world. This is Prabhupada's Avashesh. This is the legacy, Avashesh, that he has left. So if we all have the faith in these three things, Prabhupada Dhuliyara, Prabhupada Jal, Prabhupada Avaseshatina Mahabal, and that is the prayer I make, that we all have faith in these three things of Prabhupada, and we make rapid progress in service to our Guru and our Vaishnavas. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Sitama Prabhu. And as Sita Mataji makes her offering, I would like to request His Holiness Bhakti Purushottam Maharaj, please be ready.
Hare Krishna. I would like to offer a small poem. Dear Srila Prabhupada, today on this auspicious day, we are assembled here to say how much we are indebted to you for giving us this path of Krishna consciousness so true. You built a home for all to live in peace. Americans, Indians, Africans, and Chinese. All those who took shelter of your lotus feet will cross over this material ocean in a moment's beat. Your contribution to this world is so invaluable. Srimad Bhagavatam and all the scriptures so knowledgeable, which you painstakingly translated through the night for years with no rest or sleep in sight. Dear Srila Prabhupada, how grateful we are you gave us a chance to lead, to chant, and to dance. You let us serve in every capacity with no discrimination. For you, being a female was never a disqualification. Vegetarianism, yoga, and Indian culture are now common in the West. It's only because of your teachings and influence at best. Traveling the globe like a spiritual revolutionary, transforming hearts like a true visionary. Books are the basis you teach. Purity is the force you preach. Preaching is the essence indeed, for utility is the principle we need. The day you left this world, on this day today, the world was plunged in spiritual darkness, I say. Hearts heavy with sorrow, a big price to pay. Your dear disciples are now our only hope to show us the way. Dear Srila Prabhupada, I am an insignificant tiny part of this movement. I struggle with my own anarthas at every moment. Yet my shelter is my Guru Maharaj, your most perfect student. His love for you is most ardent. He carries your vision in his heart of preaching to the Western world part. He created a beautiful oasis, a visual art. Govardhan Eco Village, a true example from the start. I humbly beg for your mercy to be always engaged in service. Be like a tiny squirrel pushing sand in building this great bridge for mankind.
So I was in 3 weeks tour. I went Oman, Bahrain, Saudi Arab, lot of programs, and I become sick and lost voice also. I just came back from the kingdom of Allah. It's very nice preaching program going on there. And also, I'm not so much habituated standing and speaking. I'm a little bit awkward, nervous. We are habituated sitting and speaking. And also, especially, I was told there will be speaking chance in noon time and evening time when Srila Radhanath Maharaj, Prabhupada disciples will speak. So I have chosen to speak in noon time, so that they will not be here. I can open my heart to you. But when I come, Maharaj, all Prabhupada's disciples are sitting here now. So that means I can't speak to you in Madhurya Rasa. I have to speak in Aishwarya Bhava. You want reverence? Because I can't open my heart to you. If Maharaj would not be here, I could dominate you and speak everything. But now I cannot dominate. So the point is, I'll speak especially on 2 points. That jane jane shakti dhare brahmanda tarite pare. That Prabhupada's unique position on this earthly planet. There are many teachers, many preachers, many gurus, many acharyas. But how Srila Prabhupada stands out specially. Many people they challenge also about our Guru Parampara, this, that. The tree can be recognized by its fruits. So we can see that Prabhupada, he was the empowered personality, like Shaktaves avatar, who was sent here or who came here to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. So when I go to preach in Western countries, I compare now what kind of preacher we are. The point is, nowadays many ISKCON preachers from India going abroad to preach. Many Gaudiya Matha Maharajas, devotees, they are also going to preach. Many of them are opening many temples since Prabhupada started preaching of Sanatan Dharma in Western countries. Now many groups they have gone there. Especially our Gaudiya gurus and institutions also going. But what will make Srila Prabhupada very unique in this preaching program? Prabhupada gave the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. Of course, we all know before Prabhupada bring this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, there are so many Bhagavad Gita in English, many different great personalities. But we have not seen one Krishna Bhakta. So that brought a big change in the Western world. And as you know, our philosophy is very heavy, goes more and more deeper, more deeper, more deeper. Prabhupada gave everything, but there are some people, they claim there are more things could be given, could be spoken. Yes, there are so many things, definitely. But in spite of all these great things, these great preachers going and giving in Western countries, still Prabhupada will remain unique. In my thought process, I think that people will go, they will build big temples, big philosophy, all highest rasakathas. But still Prabhupada will remain unique in this sense. When Prabhupada went, how he was received. what he taught. Nowadays, we are going to preach everything arranged, transportation arranged, program arranged. Even if when I reach airport, sometimes somebody delayed, so I get very worried. Oh, there's nobody in the airport. What will happen? I was very worried. I became angry also. And when Prabhupada went, how many people came to receive him? And what will keep Prabhupada unique in his position is, the many people will go to Western countries to teach many big philosophy, but nowadays they don't have to go to Western countries to teach Western people how to wear sari and wear cloth like Indians, how to cook, how to take a bath after going to toilet. That makes Prabhupada's position very unique. People are ready, they take things. But Prabhupada, he started from grassroots, so that nobody else has to do like that. I have heard there are many, many things in initial days, so less facilities. Now we have big temples, everything so opulent. Prabhupada, there would be brahmachari stay in one room, put some sari or dhoti, partition wall, one bathroom, so everybody would be standing in line to go to bathroom. That everybody standing, Prabhupada also would go and stand in line also. That means that time there were not people that much courtesy they had to say, Prabhupada, you please go ahead. That much sense they did not have. But Prabhupada has to tolerate that. We are going to preach. Do we have that much tolerance? I also read or somewhere heard Mukunda Maharaj was driving Prabhupada. Prabhupada bite one apple. Then he gave to Mukunda Maharaj. And Mukunda Maharaj gave and gave to Prabhupada to take his prasadam. So this is the kind of people Prabhupada dealt and trained, gave Krishna consciousness. See that Mukunda Maharaj, who didn't know this much, that he gave bite and gave to Prabhupada to eat, and where he is now. So this is preacher. And I feel we are not preachers. We may be teacher or professors giving class, but preaching is different things. So that was what Prabhupada was empowered to. Jane jane shakti dhare, brahmanda tarite bare. The next point I want to say that Shastra says this bhakti or Sanatan Dharma will spread all over the world. Utkale Purushottamat. From Orissa, from Purushottam Kshetra. And we see Srila Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada, who took birth in this Puri Dham, established 64 Gaudiya Maths. Then he ordered Srila Prabhupada that you take it all over the world. Actually, Srila Prabhupada is the one who took Lord Jagannath all over the world. Wherever we go, our society name may be International Society for Krishna Consciousness, but we are very famous for Jagannath. Jagannath has made us very famous. Sometimes I tell to devotees that Mahaprabhu came because we are Kali Yuga people very lazy and we are not able to do dhyan, tapasya, tyaga. He said, okay, you just chant Hare Krishna. Very simple. Is it very difficult to chant Hare Krishna? Huh? But we know how difficult it is. As soon as you pick up bead bag, you fall sleepy. That means it is difficult. So Jagannath came. Okay, I understand. You people are not lazy, you are super lazy. So I have a special thing for you. Jagannath came, what he is famous for? What Jagannath is famous for? Mahaprasad ki. Japamala, you pick up, you may fall sleepy. Mahaprasad comes, you will fall sleepy. You will wake up. So Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada is so merciful. Anadi Ananta Rupam, Bhagavan has unlimited forms. But he gave us two best God. One is dancing God, Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Another is eating God, Lord Jagannath. The two gods. What more you want? Eat Mahaprasad and dance and go back to Godhead. So Jagannath becomes so famous. Now you see all over the world, Jagannath's market is very high, everywhere. I went to Brazil. Most of the temples, there is no Gaurnita deity, no Radha Krishna. So only Jagannath is there. Somehow the whole world has fallen in love with Jagannath. I was in London, Radheshyam, big Radheshyam, thousands of tourists there. An European family, they're walking. I was also walking on the pathway. So the family, they're taking pictures of Jagannath. Father, mother, 2, 3 children. One small girl showing to her father or mother, oh, look at this, so beautiful. Showing to Jagannath. I'm thinking, what beautiful she found? Black face, no hand, no leg. How she look? He looked, she's not a devotee. For devotee, okay. For devotee, Jagannath, black face, we say, oh, Padma Mukha. No hand, or lotus hand, lotus feet, but no hand, no leg. But how Prabhupada has brought this Jagannath to whole world. So that is what Utkala Purushottamat. This order came to Prabhupada from this Puri Kshetra, and Lord Jagannath is the first deity, most probably I think so, that's worshipped. Our society name is the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. And I asked Maharaj, maybe Madan Mohan, some deity was there but not installed. The first deity was Jagannath, the deity, and first festival was Rath festival. So in this way, we can see how what Shastra has said, how that is happening. How Srila Prabhupada has took Utkale Purushottamat, Purushottam Kshetra, Lord Jagannath, and he has spread his glories all over the world. Of course, we feel very sad that our devotees, special Western devotees, are not allowed in Jagannath temple. Srila Prabhupada came here. I have heard that Prabhupada did not go inside because his disciples were not allowed. There's great desire of Srila Prabhupada that his Western disciples should be allowed inside the temple. However, that has not happened yet, and we hope and we pray someday people will understand, and this will be materialized that our devotees can go inside the temple. Of course, it is not so important, urgent, because if we are not allowed inside the temple, Jagannath has come out of the temple, he has gone all over the world to give darshan to our devotees. Jagannath eats Chappana Bhoga. But when I go Western countries, they provide hundreds kinds of varieties of prasadam to Jagannath. Because he is eating God, you know. Jagannath was eating fruits and roots from Vishwavasu. Then Indradimna Raja came, he gave Chappana Bhoga. Jagannath eating rice dal sabji, how long he will eat? He's feeling very boring. How he called Prabhupada. He said, you take me out of Puri. So Prabhupada took him out of Puri. Now Jagannath all over the world eating idli, dosa, pizza, pasta, chowmin, everything. So maybe he is eating Chappana Bhoga here. But today, for Prabhupada we have also more than 300 varieties. For Jagannath, thousands of varieties. So ISKCON has justified, Prabhupada has justified taking Krishna in the form of Jagannath all over the world. And so that Jagannath, as eating God, he can eat all kinds of prasadam offered to him with love and devotion. So, but one thing, last thing I want to say, my spiritual master, Srila Jayapataka Goswami Maharaj, still insisting, so that for purpose, Prabhupada personally did not enter because his Western disciples are not allowed. It's not a small subject matter that needs to be addressed and dealt with. It may take time whenever Jagannath wants. We depend upon Jagannath. We depend upon Jagannath Sevaks in Jagannath temple. If they are pleased, definitely one day all devotees will be allowed. But I was always worried, Jagannath coming out, why devotees are so curious to go inside? They want to see what is there. So finally, I worked on something. Raj, all of you know, I have published one book on Sri Jagannath, one book on Sri Kshetra also, which explains everything about Jagannath Puri. Last 7-8 years I worked on. I brought some books. Come here. Some books I brought. Are there. So last 7-8 years I worked to break through their curiosity. What is there inside the temple? I find not only Western devotees, they are going inside. They are not allowed to go inside. They are not allowed inside. And they want to know what is there. Even our Indian devotees, they go, just look around like this. What is there? They don't understand anything. Every stone, every tree, every step in Jagannath temple is a great meaning, philosophical background, and huge history also. That our devotees should be aware of these things. Sometimes I think, without knowing Jagannath so much, why this Rath Yatra, where it started from? If people have fallen so much into love of Jagannath, if they know about Jagannath, how much love they will develop towards Jagannath. So finally, after 7 years of great endeavor, I have published one book called Sri Mandir. I brought this book, I'll hand over to Maharaj so that he will see. This book will describe you start your journey from Arunastamba, that pillar outside. Then one after another you will go each and every temple. What deity, what mantra, when it manifested, all details will explain to you. Of course, I could not bring so many books, 50 or 100 books are there. You can collect from the stall. The point is, what Prabhupada has given us, for Prabhupada, how much proud we should be. One great personality went to America, takes the whole credit. He brought Sanatan Dharma to America. Who is that person? That all of you know that he is very famous in India. Any of you know? Who? Loudly. Loudly, more loudly. Vivekananda is very famous. And all Indians, Bengalis, are very proud of Vivekananda. I'm very respectful to him because I was also reading his books before. So, what point I'm to make to you, all of you, Vivekananda went to America. What he brought? He brought one lady. Any of you know that lady? Bengalis, they know. You know the lady's name? Nivedita. Her name is Nivedita. Nivedita means completely Nivedan. Surrendered, right? I actually don't know how much she really surrendered. Her name was Nivedita. If for one Nivedita, one lady he brought, we Indians, we Bengal people or Hindus, we become so proud, glorifying Vivekananda. Then Prabhupada brought hundreds, thousands of Nivedita. How much proud we should be. Indians, followers of Sanatan Dharma, are yet to recognize Prabhupada. My understanding is, this expansion of Krishna consciousness will increase 100 times better when people will know Prabhupada. By knowing Prabhupada's life, his endeavor, and everything about Prabhupada, Krishna consciousness preaching will increase more and more. Prabhupada, being humble Vaishnavas, he did not put him forward. You see, all other societies, after the founder of the society, right? I don't pronounce their name. You know the names, right? Every society after their name. You go to their program, only their photos. But Prabhupada, being very humble, he put himself behind. You go New York, America, anywhere you go, they see us like this in airport or market. They say, oh, Hare Krishna is going. Right? Prabhupada made such a trick, everybody will chant Hare Krishna. But everybody knows Krishna. Hey, Krishnas are going. We are all Krishna in their eyes. Krishnas are going. But Prabhupada did not put him forward. So now this is our responsibility. Prabhupada made Krishna famous all over the world. And our responsibility is that we have to make Srila Prabhupada famous all over the world. And we should feel very happy, very secure what Prabhupada has left behind for us. All his great disciples. What revolutionary things. History. There is no description in history, no description in Puranas also. What Prabhupada has done. Going to Western countries, Muslim background, Yehudi background, Christian background, people they never heard Krishna's name in their 14 generations. What is this Krishna? And they are the great acharyas. This is what Prabhupada has left behind for us. So we take advantage of their association, take advantage of their instruction to follow, to take it to our heart. In this way, we can glorify Srila Prabhupada all over the world. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ke, Srila Prabhupada Tribhavatiti Mahotsav ke, Gaura Premanande.
Thank you, Bhakti Varshuddha Maharaj.